Yeah. Oh, that's my opening for this. What do we got? Well, 4. With a 2 pipe there too, so hopefully we don't have to start at the other side of the world. That'd be nice. Nope, okay. This is a double-edged sword in a way though, isn't it? Because if that was a really bad Hammer Bro fight, like the water-based one or something, you'd be in a lot of trouble with that, but nope, just a hammer to begin with.
Yeah, always an interesting strategy. I know going forward we have a lot of players that will really try to forego Hammer Bros. You know, you're really looking for clouds, maybe a hammer down the line as far as making some shortcuts happen, but generally, because we're not playing those end card games anymore, we're not seeing as many opportunities to, and because hammers won't break locks anymore, we're not seeing as many opportunities to really get something good out of those guys.
Right, and HUmanMustard is one of the biggest advocates for that. Actually, we had a big discussion of that on the Discord just before the bracket stuff started. It's like, oh, I'm not going for these at all anymore. It's amazing how much time you save on average with that. Because even if the fights go well, your Hammer Bro fights will usually take like 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds if they go bad per fight. And if you don't get anything good from them, it just doesn't work out at all. And oh my goodness, it is the worst case scenario here for this world. That lock did not break, and we have to go literally all the way over. I was going to say it, but I wasn't hoping to be right about that. Nice little frog suit for HUmanMustard here. We know he's a big fan of this. Doesn't quite get it to work this time, but that's fine. It's going to be disappointed, actually, to lose that if he goes into the next stage, because this is one of the ideal ones for it. 7-4 without the auto-scroll. Nasty enemy setup here.
There tends to be, in this level, as the auto-scroll has been taken out, you're not, you know, being slowed down by the speed of the level anymore. But in turn, now all of a sudden, you just get these enemies just spawning on you, like, and pretty much covering exactly where you need to go through gaps, so
right.
A little bit of tricky maneuvering. Very nicely done by Cat.
Yeah, because the worst part of it is they can show up in places you can't react to them, just because, as you say, they're usually timed to the auto scrolls, so you'd be able to move a bit more cautiously around them. But sometimes, if they appear where that big bertha is right now, you might not have a chance to even do that. It is kind of interesting to note as we go into the Piranha Alley here. It's kind of interesting to note neither player used the hammer from the Hammer Bros to skip that stage. This is one of the few World 4s where you could use a hammer to skip a level, if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I think that just kind of goes in turn with the idea of not really playing Hammer Bros, getting as many items through a run anymore. You might only get this one hammer right in the beginning, so maybe save it for World 2, World 6. If you get another one, maybe double hammer on World 3, something like that. So
yeah,
I can see them reason why they wouldn't be going for the single level quite yet.
It was interesting that HUmanMustard had the opportunity to fly over that opening section and chose not to. It can be very difficult to get through the big piranha thing. Ooh, another nasty hit. Trying to keep the P-Speed strats going in this 5-3 beta over here. It can be very tricky because you barely have any time to get the P-Speed at the start, and then you've got to make very quick movements in order to get it to work. So see if HUmanMustard can do it. I know he was practicing this stuff a little bit. Oh, nice little clip there too, just to really get the positioning right. This is where taking that hit before is gonna be a bit of a problem.
Oh, and yeah, Mustard Tray is down there too, so they're both gonna be dealing with this corridor with the blooper here. Always.
Yeah, HUmanMustard had a really good setup for that. Cavin has been blocked a lot more by this thing. Getting it underneath the block should help though. There we go. And yeah, it's always funny seeing Paragoombas and stuff come from above there too. So, oh, then Star Run coming up too. This is a nice one. And with the Angry Sun at the beginning as well, you don't have to wait for the Piranha Plant at the start to go down, so it should be good. Ooh, Fire Bros are nice. Yep, they are really nasty to deal with. I just don't understand how they work. It looks like HUmanMustard only going... Ooh, taking a hit as well. Good job he came in on the mushroom for this one. There's the frog suit that HUmanMustard got before. From a different Toad House, though. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think this first run's going to be real interesting going forward. I mean, it looks like Cavin was able to get some practice in. I don't know what HUmanMustard's kind of sleep schedule is like. He might be coming in completely cold. And so I'm seeing some strange movement from him, and I think it's just literally that this looks exactly how I play when I first like start up a game in the morning. I just start doing everything wrong, like I'd never played the game before sometimes. So yeah, just some funny moves. Yeah, it's like he moves right there out of that door. It's it's small things like that, but I you know, Mustard is a fantastic player, so he'll.
Oh, good stuff from Cavin there, getting the 2-star.
Yeah, very nice.
So he will have a power-up advantage going into this stage. That'll catch up quite a lot of the time that HUmanMustard's had to spend getting the initial mushroom here. So it won't quite be even, but it's still very close. And you can see just how bad this world has been. These guys are 6 minutes in, and they have still not finished the world yet. That's really unusual for the map shuffle that we have in the Group 2/bracket flag set.
Yeah, and you would think with World 4 starting, World 4, I would say a good amount of time ends up being actually pretty friendly to you. This one has actually just made them. No, you're playing a whole string of levels early on, not necessarily friendly ones either, with Prawn Alley and stuff popping up right there. So good on them for being able to make it through actually in the 6 minutes, because it's not exactly the friendliest start here.
No, for sure. HUmanMustard, as we've said, he doesn't want to do the Hammer Bros unless they're in the way, so he's actually going to take the pipe in order to avoid having to do that fight. So he must be still feeling confident enough with the item setup as well, not to want like extra mushrooms or stars or anything that way for it. Both players doing exactly the same thing with that, actually. So yeah, it's a pretty good mentality. So 2 hits, 3. Iggy starts getting dangerous after like 2 hits here. Oh, he went for it. You can just get shenanigans through that. Let's see how Cavin does with this fight. So there's the 1. Yep. Gets the... Ooh, went for it. Iggy can jump like immediately. He's one of the few that does. There's the shenanigans. Unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world for sure, because, I mean, 7-6 could show up as the next level, and that is easier with regular mushroom than it is with a tail. Or even something as benign as the Air Force could be the next one, and that's actually slower as well. There are some stages you want the tail for, a lot of them you don't, if you're good with the regular speedrun stuff. What a weird World 7 this is starting out to be.
Yeah, the early lock blocks. Yeah, wow. That is fantastic. I approve, Fred. I completely approve of this routing. This is...
Okay.
Oh, and we get just probably the best level in the game right here.
Oh my goodness. Alright, so this is definitely advantage tail, if you can keep it through this one. I reckon we're probably going to have to do that fort and then go back to the top island and go one of the 2 pipes next to the nipper there. That would be my guess as to how this is going to end up going, since we've seen both pipes on, or all the pipes on the first island.
Yeah, if it breaks the lock immediately north for them, that's going to be a really interesting routing play. Do you immediately, jump off the island that you're on right now to break it? Or do you go back all the way up to the North Island right there and see if that actually is your way? Very nicely done with HUmanMustard there, keeping that P-speed and being able to fly there.
That's pretty good for Cavin too, taking the time to get the extra power up here, but the Fire Flower is definitely a good safety for this. You could theoretically fireball the Cheep Cheep and set up the clip down the bottom. It might be a little bit dangerous, but you could go for it.
Yeah, where I'd say it's really going to hurt Cavin is just these pipe transitions. He's going to have to do 3-4 more pipe transitions than what Mustard's going to have to do right here, just having to go back and forth.
That is not a death I would expect to see from HUmanMustard there at all. So it looks like, with the way this world has gone... Oh, Cavin is going for the clip. Gotta watch out for the Cheep Cheep coming back. Oh no, he's at the top, isn't he? Yeah, well, he's still got to watch out for it, because it can respawn in weird places. Yeah, it seems that we are going to have to go through this fort. This fort has to break the lock on the top island, and because the only pipes that are left are the ones on that island to get to the end. So, very weird setup here, but not too many levels to do, so it's a bit of a break compared to the previous world. I guess it could still go to the bottom island, but even at that, it's one more step at that point, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Mustard taking a look at his inventory. Only a hammer and a music box, so no power-ups going forward. You happen to run into a level like a 7-1. That's gonna be a real something you don't want to see, basically.
Aye. So as we go into my least favorite beta stage, actually, because the enemies are actually positionally tied to where the screen is scrolling at the top. So sometimes you get fire snakes at the very top, you can run under them. Most of the time they're at the bottom and you get hit by them. So I really don't like that one. But it's interesting that he just went straight for the level here, as opposed to maybe looking at the other pipe and seeing if he could get through. I don't know. It's a weird layout for that here, because he could have potentially skipped that stage, but also could have just had a much longer stage otherwise.
On the left here, we see Mustard getting the good old waterfall, the beta stage. Probably my favorite of the beta level.
I'm hit and miss on that one. It's totally fine, but you can't die in it, so if you get that as a hand stage, it's just a guaranteed waste of time. I don't know, it's just weird. Ooh, Air Force as well. This is a very technical stage. You can do a lot of really good movement here and get this done in less than 20 seconds, but it's very challenging to do that. See, excellent beta stage from Cavin there. So again, so one of those, if it might look like Mustard has a decent lead here, but all the stages have been really short, so it's not that extensive, and he's taking this extremely safely. Honestly, I don't blame him, considering some of the uncharacteristic mistakes that we've seen so far, like that 4F2.
Yeah, when you're feeling like you might be a little bit cold, or like literally at the beginning of that fort, just feeling like probably got a dropped input there. Yeah, maybe just kind of not so confident in the movement you had been doing before. Good use of the music box right there. Feels no need to get that extra piranha level, and moves on.
So this is an interesting one. We've had the World 3 airship already from the first world. Now we have the World 6 airship. So both of the flat stages have been taken out before we see Lemmy or Wendy. So they could be challenging fights to come.
Yeah, always, you know, and it looks like a heavy one too. Here we go.
That's actually what you want to see on this layout, because Ludwig especially, compared to Roy, who does the same sort of thing. Ludwig can jump really high very quickly and very unpredictably, so you want to see the regular earthquake stuff there, especially from World 6, because it's kind of weird that, I guess because Lemmy's on his little circus ball thing, that everybody starts raised compared to just on the ground like every other ship. So you will instantly be able to see if there's an earthquake coming, and you don't get affected by the first one. So, you know, you can tell what type of fight you're going for immediately. Ooh. This is an awkward layout for sure. I guess you definitely want to do the fort first here. Because you don't want to have to climb back through the tower in order to get through this.
This was actually a mistake. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, he's gonna check...
Oh, and he's done it too. Yeah, there we go.
And it's locked in. Mustard should know. I made this mistake against Mustard two nights ago. This exact mistake, and it's it's essentially what won him the race, because I had to go through Spiral Castle or Spiral Fort twice, and now he's like, I don't even have to play this level, but he's gonna do it. So we're at least gonna get one spiral run. That's good stuff right there.
I mean, in his situation, it is actually mandatory, and we see that Cavin he's thinking about it. He's made exactly the same mistake. Oh goodness!
And both players just sit there for a second, contemplating their decisions, and I don't blame them.
All right, well, we're basically tied up at this point because Mustard took a fall there as well. You see, both players do know, even without P-Speed, you can get a duck slide underneath the Thwomp here. There's a couple of ways you can deal with it. If you let the Thwomp fall, you can duck jump over it, but that takes a little bit more time. So, same with it here. Nice little slide under. Cavin's movement's been a little bit more solid here. HUmanMustard's taken 2 hits out of this too, so could be trouble for the next fort coming up.
So essentially, what's happened here is both players have so far made no progress on World 3. But you know that's the risk you take. There's absolutely a chance that the lock that's going to be unlocked by the blue fort here.
Oh no! And the anchor was a cloud, so. Oh, tough break for HUmanMustard here as well. That could be a very important one for later on. You could skip a vital stage with that. We do still have plenty of incredibly long stages to show up. There's the 2 auto-scrollers, there's the 5-3 is pretty long, the 6-6 could be something you want to skip. Loads of chances for Cavin to potentially use that later. At the same time, it's on an anchor though, and it can be very easy to just never check the anchor. That's something I've been incredibly bad with personally, where you just don't end up checking what it is, and you find out in World 8 when you're looking for a mushroom or something. Speaking of 6-6.
Hey. Commentator's blessing right there, just bringing it to him.
He doesn't know that he has a cloud though. That's the sort of weird thing with this, is that like Mustard will now go, oh, I wish I had that cloud for this, but Cavin doesn't even know that he has it, and it can be very easy just to never see it.
Yeah, I think for in times when I haven't checked the anchor, and that's been plenty of times, is like I have an opportunity where a cloud would be useful, but I already have a good power up or something like that, so I don't want to erase that by like getting a mushroom out of the anchor. Silly things like that, but yeah, absolutely, that's going to be kind of a hidden advantage that Cavin has, and maybe down the line realize that it will be interesting to see.
Both of them have done incredibly well with this stage, though, only taking 1 hit despite oh, okay, never mind, there's a fire nipper at the end. Good job, HUmanMustard's got the mushroom still, because that could be trouble. Yep. Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. Just enough gap there so you can just take that immediate right out of the pipe, and then yeah, just you could actually, I don't even know if you have to duck jump through it. I think you could just run up and jump next to it, and you're good to go. So it's well played there by Mustard, kind of recognizing that, or maybe he just stumbled into it. I'm not sure.
That looks like a reflex move to me, but he might have seen that situation in the past and gone, yep, this is exactly what I need to do. Oh, and the triple mushroom. That's probably not intentional, but yeah, it's very unusual to see. But 2 extra lives in this situation is not terrible, though. Ooh, 1-5 beta. This is probably my favorite beta stage overall, because it doesn't actually have randomized enemies in it. It's always the same. You can plan out a really good way of doing this, and HUmanMustard, I know, is particularly adept at this one, so... Because he will probably take the Koopa shell here. Yep, he takes the shell, knocks it whilst running. That gets rid of the... normally gets rid of the piranha before he shoots. I think he did it a little bit too late, but...
Yeah, very clean. Getting through the section. Both coming out of it as Big Mario, and we got a heck of a race here.
Yeah, nothing to stop this Hammerbow. HUmanMustard doesn't have to play it because it's not in the way, so that's unfortunate RNG. And why did he not take damage there? He just phased through the block like twice. I don't understand Fire Bros.
Fire Bros, they seem to have the wonkiest hitboxes of all. I have absolutely, I've had that exact scenario. It just like, you know, you hit it, and it's especially aggravating if you are big, because then you break the block right below them, and they immediately drop onto you. So it's, you know, there's some fun to be had.
Yep, so we have 4 hits on Roy here. It's not too bad, to be honest. Roy doesn't tend to immediately jump as soon as he hits the ground. He can, but is it 4 or 5? I think 5. Point is, he can be the same as Ludwig and Iggy, where he jumps straight through you, but he doesn't usually jump as quick. So if you're good with your quick kill or quick hit timings, you usually are much safer against Roy. Ooh, Firefly was pretty good from the Princess, though. You definitely want to save that till the end if you can. Ah, it was 5 hits, okay.
And here we are. We got a 1-3 here in World 4, which is actually World 3.
Yeah, so quite right. It looks like HUmanMustard's not going to go for the item here. That Fire Snake would be a big problem for that. Would just disrupt the entire time, and even if you do get it, you're probably going to land on it and take damage. So we'll see if Cavin is going to skip it as well. Okay, just a little bit unsure about where he was going with that, but hey, 6-2 more fire chomps, because that is totally an enemy we haven't seen in this seed yet. And even more of them. Yeah, this 6-2 is a weird one, because it's really easy to just like slip off the end here if you're not careful, because the auto-scroller normally makes it so you can see all the jumps coming, but kind of like the Air Force, this one has blind jumps because of the auto-scroll being turned off. I know some people actually prefer it switched on as a result, but like, I can't do that. I don't have the trust in the level to do that. That was really spicy.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up, because that's a nice little strat there from Cavin. I have a little bit different one. I kind of fade back, but I kind of have the timing down. You know, you just kind of have the rhythm. And it looks like Cavin has a nice one right there, so I'm gonna have to look that up.
So this is an interesting layout here with both forts. You almost always have to do a fort in the world in order to get to the end, whether it's by proxy or by the fact of there's a lock block in the end. If you don't directly have to do one, you usually have to do at least 2 extra stages in order to skip it. But in World 3, it tends to be there's a lock at Wendy's, so HUmanMustard's clearly going straight for that and just going to do the forts. He'll likely do one and then scroll back over to the pipe, take a look and see if it broke the lock on the island. And if it did, he'll have to do the other one. Meanwhile, we'll see just which pipe it is that you have to go to in the first place here. Looks like the bottom one. Okay. Oh, HUmanMustard taking a power-up in 5F2 here. Interesting.
Yeah, I think his rhythm was just thrown off maybe a little bit from some previous platforming there, and having to wait out, Poodaboo right there just decided, nah, let's get some flight, let's get some movement, options, I guess, and kind of move forward.
Right, so hammers don't break locks in the bracket stage, that's the thing, and that is the right fort to do as well, so HUmanMustard has to just find a pipe now. This kind of looks awkward for Cavin, but it's not too bad, because he had to basically either do this stage or the one that was above the forts anyhow, in order to get to the end, so it looked as if he did an extra stage, but in reality he's just done some extra pipe transitions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, it's kind of interesting. So yeah, now hammers have reduced, they're reduced in how nice they are to have and how much they play into the routing. Now essentially you only have 3 worlds in which it comes into play. This world right here, which you have the ability to use 2 hammers to get across the bottom at the beginning of the world. You then have a good old World 6, and I guess you have 2 hammer plays there as well. The potential to get to that early pipe will always help.
Yeah,
and then
excellent PCB strats from 5F2 from Cavin there, and yeah, as you're saying, World 2 is the other one you can. So 2, 3, 4, and 6 potential hammer uses, but for World 3 you need 2 of them, and to do anything. And World 4 it's almost never useful. This seed was the exception, really.
Yeah, actually, no, you're absolutely right. I always kind of forget about that World 4 play. And yeah, this is probably one of the only times I would have ever considered it.
Exactly. I mean, it's one that breaks it in the middle of the world. In the vanilla speedruns, you use it to skip 4F1. And it's very rarely usable in Rando. So it's very easy just to forget that it exists. So Cavin actually just going for the regular kill here and slightly off on the timing. Uh-oh. This is where it gets bad. Says the 4th. Oh, what? How on earth did he not get hit there? But... that's so unfortunate. It'll be ruined that he didn't just go for the fire kill at this point. He's gonna use the fire flower to do so.
Ooh, and that's I don't, Because having the fire kill, or the fire in your inventory at this point, you don't have anything else right now on hand that's going to take out Bowser quickly. Fire kill is one of those options, and a hammer suit's the only other one. So, using that now, I mean, hopefully you pick up something down the line, you get something from one of the letters at the end of the world, but... We'll see how much of that factor that plays out to, because I don't believe Mustard... Oh, Mustard has 2, so there you go. You have little options there for Mustard, and we'll actually use the hammer to go back in World 2 to play the fort. Like the play. Definitely...
Ooh, go on.
Oh yeah, definitely one that I've rarely seen pop up, but this is exactly the format. This is where you'd want to use this hammer right here. This is going to skip a lot of World 2 for
Right, there's a lot of interesting plays going on here. Cavin still went for the regular kill despite... Oh, lucky, that's where the other fire flower came from, was the letter from here. Lucky in a way that he could have used a P-Wing instead, right? And he could have just done that if he was going for the regular kill. Mustard using the hammer here is really interesting, knowing that World 6 is still in play, and World 6 is the one place where the hammer could potentially skip the entire world by unlocking the guaranteed pipe that is behind the first rock.
Yeah, that World 6 layout is going to be incredibly important going forward here for these runners, because yeah, that's a factor.
The thing is, it could also just skip like no levels, and Cavin's doing exactly the same thing here. So they're both using the hammer to skip one stage, which is better than nothing, let's be honest, but it really will be interesting to see just where, potentially, we might not even get to see it, but just where the pipe ends up taking you in World 6. Of course, there are 2 sets of pipes, so it's entirely possible that the other pairing will be just much more favorable, but we'll have to see.
Mustard showing the Hammer Bros a little love.
Oh, well, he gets one back anyway. Alright.
See, this is why you play Hammer Bros, though. He went out of his way to play that. I know, and that's against, I think, Mustard's maybe initial, feelings on how he should go about it, but that absolutely is going to be... That's huge.
Cavin, unfortunately, not quite making the cycle here. I think he took a hit he either took 2 hits during the run there, or he took a hit beforehand and just couldn't quite get there. I love these P-Wing strats in the World 7. Not even P-Wing, just P-Speed. Fantastic stuff there. It takes a while to be confident with the level layout to do that, but when you've got it, it's so satisfying. Oh, okay. I guess that works actually, because you would still have the star even if it wasn't the cloud. If it was some other power-up, you'd just go into the stage with a power-up plus the star. Sure, that works. But Cavin noticing now, hey, there's a cloud in the anchor, so I can use that. Yeah, still using the other fire flower here though.
Yeah, wow. Just, I mean, yeah, it's a risk reward. I mean, you pretty much, if you feel really good about making it through the airships, then all these runners are going to feel that way pretty much. I'm surprised you just don't go through this one small and just kind of, but you want to be able to take a hit. You don't want to die to this fight, so. Man,
that jump, I think Macobra does the same jump near the end of the he does a big long jump over the stuff in the World 7 airship P-Speed stuff. That scares me so much because it's just looks so easy to fall off that. I don't know.
So it looks like here in World 6 that the pipes are they're interconnected through the first half of the world, so they're definitely going to have to play through some of World 6 here.
Yep, and he didn't have to use the hammer to get here, so...
Yeah, so he's going to skip that one level right there.
Is this the first time we've seen Boss Pass in this seed? And we're in World 6 now. Oh, I just noticed what Cavin got off, and HUmanMustard, of course, will have as well. I just noticed what they got off of the Princess there. That kind of invalidates any criticism about using the Fire Flowers, right? Because
I suppose so, yeah. I'm extra cautious. As soon as I get my first Bowser quick kill weapon, you know, whether it's a hammer suit or a fire flower, that bad boy's staying in my inventory. I'm gonna deal with stuff otherwise, but it's obviously, you know, the right move by these guys, just using the items when they feel they need.
So now we have 6F2, the one I called in chat yesterday, the Fortress of Solitude, because it's the ice one. But yeah, I don't know. This stage is interesting because if you can do the fly under strats, that's obviously super good. But you can, as HUmanMustard showed twice there, you can skip over some of the Thwomp cycles if you are precise with jumps, and that lets you keep the Fire Flower for the end instead. Quick kill, boom boom here. I hate that dry bones at the start of that stage though, because if he decides he's going to the right instead, you have to wait to despawn him. It's just so annoying.
Yeah, either you do that run back left and despawn him, or you try to do a little tricky little, you know, duck jump or something to shrink him down and then do that. But
that's beautiful Navy P-Speed strats there. Oh, Cavin's got to be careful. Yeah, the Navy's a very difficult one to keep P-Speed the entire way through, so HUmanMustard doing a fantastic job of showing that off there. Yeah, I don't blame Cavin waiting for Boom Boom down the bottom here. You don't want to take a fall at the end of this stage, it's very long. Speaking of, it's one of my least favourite arenas for a regular Lemmy fight here is the World 5 one, because that Circus Ball can just bounce straight off the corner and come back at you when you're trying to hit him, so it's really dumb. I don't like this arena, but yeah. Fire kill, totally fine.
Yeah, exactly. I think that slight elevation that you get actually lines you up perfectly, pretty much, for the fire kill. And before he even starts moving, basically, you're usually able to get about like 7 or 8 hits on him. So yeah, you could absolutely, you know, we're gonna take the balls out of the equation, and we're just going to do a nice little fire kill there. And the Spoony Bard, there we go.
It was nice that they didn't have to do the extra fort in the way as well there, and this is a really good layout for World 1, only having to do 1 extra stage. This... Are we gonna see? Not quite. It's a very, very tight jump to try and get through that, and I don't blame HUmanMustard for going for it. It looks really cool when you get it, but man. And see... Oh, we're only gonna see 2 hits. Okay, so Cavin probably saved a tiny bit of time overall on that fight. I think it maybe breaks even. It's hard to say with how quickly you could get those fireballs in at the end.
Yeah, I would say pretty close to even. But yeah, well done there by Cavin. Able to match this up into, yeah, a World 1, World 7, and we are 34 minutes in, so this is just kind of one of those seeds. It's just going to take a little bit longer than some of the other ones, but they had to deal with some absolutely brutal layouts early on.
Right. Neither of them have played particularly poorly or anything. It's just an incredibly long seed, and you know there have been the odd mistakes, but most of it has just been you've had to do 6-7 levels of world, etc. Ooh, unfortunate hit from Cavin there. Yep, gonna go over the top of this. There's a lot of crazy feet in this. I just didn't realize that. Nice hand level from HUmanMustard here after getting through 2-2. The hand levels do have the same item in them per seed, but it's randomized as to what it is. This time it's technically a cloud, and both of them will know that. But it's also kind of useless at this point, because that was the final level before World 8. So, good job, game.
We'll see how much 8-1 and 8-2, and that's absolutely useless. There's no use for that hammer anymore, unfortunately. The cloud can still play a factor. It might be able to, give them a chance to skip a level here in World 8, depending on the layout.
Right, it's not impossible that it sees use, it's just incredibly unlikely. So I think this might have to be an Earthquake fight here, because I think we've only seen one. But was there a Kipling that had only one hit as well? Might have seen.
I don't think we've gotten a one hit yet.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I thought there was an Earthquaker left, but maybe not this time.
Back-to-back 2-hitter quitters, though, so... Nice little, a couple nice fights there, being able to end with fully powered up there for Mustard. Gotta like that going into World 8 for the shenanigans that this is. World 8 being, just being World 8, just, exactly probably what you'd expect. It's one of the most potentially annoying levels to have to navigate through. Try to find, essentially, the fort you might need to play, or the pipe that you need to go through to even get to that last screen there.
His power-up setup is lean, but definitely I don't mind what he's going for here. It's obviously hasn't worked out in terms of skipping the hand stage here, but you want to know whether this is the fort or the level straight away, because if this turns out to be like the level that you want, nice speed strats too. If this turns out to be the fort, then it's likely this fort is going to be needed for something, just because it's awkward to get to. So I definitely approve that he's going for this now. It might actually save him a lot of time in the long run.
Yeah, this could be interesting with Cavin going into 8. Is there a route divergence? And is this going to be necessary for Mustard to even do? Does he end up playing essentially an extra level and take an extra death? If this ends up just being a level. And it's...
Oh, it is. Ooh. Well, that's basically going to tie things up because, if Cavin's commentary on my games is anything to go by, he's probably not going to go for that stage. Nope, straight in. What?
Wow.
Okay, this will not be the one that makes the bridge here.
No, this will unlock the other pipe. Probably, most likely.
No, it has to, because the logic requires that all stages are clearable. The only way to proceed beyond the first screen and this one is the pipe that we've seen that's covered by a lock. And there are no other forts that could break that. So this has to break that lock. This is one of the worst setups that you could have for dealing with that, though. The only way that gets worse is if they were both red plants. But Cavin making a very good job getting through it. Yet, HUmanMustard taking the damage there. It's way faster to just deal with it that way.
Yeah, nice use of that vulnerability. Something I always try to go for. Hopefully, getting through that beginning of the Piranha Fort there and being able to tank a hit. Cavin not doing so, and just kind of gonna take a little bit of time. Gonna stay Big Mario, hopefully. Except for the disco balls,
Yeah. And that's the other thing that can happen here a lot as well, is that you end up just getting messed up by everything going awry with just all the stuff getting in the way.
So it looks like hand bridge is pipe bridge, and this could get really messy for our runners. We're gonna see.
Yeah, my two least favorite things to see in World 8 is like 3 or 4 pipes in the first part, and then 4 or 5 pipes in the hand bridge. They are both obnoxious situations to deal with, and yeah, as you say, this could get ugly real quick. The other thing is, we know that tank that's blocked by stage 2 there actually is a fort, so that might be something that has to come into play as well. Also, am I looking at this right? Is the actual fort in the dark room? Because that could also come into play.
Oh yes, absolutely can. And because it's the normal fort, the other stages, the military stages, they all pop up even in the dark room. You see.
Mustard, what are you doing? I'm sorry, I have to call him out on that because we saw the lock break in the hand bridge part. I guess he just isn't paying attention to that this time, which is understandable given how early we are. But
yeah, I think that's just it. Just what happened? Oh, let me check that again. Yeah.
Wait, no, I was gonna say, I'm hoping Cavin's not doing the same thing here. So I guess we're seeing a bit of a divergence here then, right? HUmanMustard's going at stage 2. Cavin has gone just to take a brief look and see what was unlocked there.
Ooh.
Yeah, so HUmanMustard's clearly looking to close this out without actually having to go into the Dark Maze at all, which I do not blame him for.
Can we get the other side?
Grab.
Yeah,
Oh, that's where it is, isn't it? It's gonna be. Just to be a pain in the butt, we're gonna have to do the fort the HUmanMustard's just clearing off now in order to... Oh no, maybe not. Okay.
To the left. Yeah, to the left.
Yeah,
there.
it's to the left of the hand stage.
Ooh, and then it gets grabbed. Oh.
It's too bad he didn't look at that the first time, actually. Because he could have just skipped over that. Ooh. Yep, 6-5 boss bass. Did HUmanMustard get the right fort here? Yes, he did.
Like...
Okay.
Oh, no way.
He
has a hammer.
He's actually doing it.
This madman. Why, Mustard? Why? He has no idea where Cavin is. This is amazing. This is... I think it's still like the early mornings really affecting him, but Mustard, what is this?
I mean, Mustard's speciality is the frog suit. He challenges anyone and everyone to frog percent races, so I guess he's putting his money where his mouth is here. And he gets shot. And he's like, no, I don't want to deal with this world. If I can't beat this with a frog, I don't want to live in this world.
Of course he clowns, why not? Yeah.
So, 6F3 is the one that was missed by HUmanMustard here too. That's another very painful stage to have to do here. So, pretty unlucky World 8 for Cavin here in the long run. I definitely appreciate what he went for. I think I might have lined up with Mustard though, just because we knew exactly where that fort was. But it's, you know, they could have easily gone the other way, and then you've done 2 stages for nothing. We saw HUmanMustard already did an extra stage for nothing before in the hand level, so...
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of, this was a really wacky pipe routing right here. I mean, you're gonna get some you're gonna have to move around a lot usually in World 8s, but this one was especially just tricksy, just because you're just having to navigate back and forth. And GG absolutely to HUmanMustard there. Finish.
Wait. Can we also now say, Cavin, what are you doing? Because he must have seen the lot break on the thing, right? Oh no, because he doesn't know which one of these is the thing. That's why. He doesn't know which one of the tanks is the actual fort here, so...
And both being blocked by a potential level, you just kind of have to... You take a gamble.
And this one I appreciate. Yeah. I was gonna say, just because this one is the hand stage as opposed to a guaranteed stage, you might not have to play this, whereas you definitely have to play the other one, so I appreciate what he's going for here. So HUmanMustard's official SRL time was 42:35. Yeah, what a crazy first race here.
Oh no, Haxor, they had checked the anchor. They knew what the anchor was. Both players did. I think Mustard was just having some fun with it.
Yeah, the thing is, they had... Oh, well, there's the frog suit for Cavin. They had one anchor earlier on. Mustard used it trying to get a different power-up, and Cavin used it to actually skip a stage in the end, in the desert. So they had one, they already knew what it was, but with the position of the stage there wasn't really anything that cloud could have done. Yeah, it was the hand level reward, and it was the final level in World 7, or World 1, basically, that gave it, so there was no chance to use it beforehand. So as we just see Cavin going through the super tanks here, the only one we didn't see was the regular one, because that's a normal stage as opposed to the fortresses like the other three.
Yeah, and Cavin just making all sorts of checks and essentially just having to, yeah, just the whole run around on World 8. It's a difference maker. I've seen it, you know. It's lost me races plenty of times before. I've probably even snaked out a couple wins for better routing too. So it's just how this how the randomizer shakes out. You could have some really good worlds beforehand, but if your World 8 starts to fall to pieces, it could spell your doom.
Yep, absolutely. So just really quick, gotta run through the rest of this here. Not too bad. Both players taking the slightly slower route through here, just not actually doing all the immediate jumps that you can. It's totally understandable when you're this early in the morning. I know we keep stressing on that, but it really is a nice two-hammer there for Cavin.
Very nice.
It really does bear repeating. This was supposed to be done quite late into the evening for both of these two, but there's had to be an emergency sort of reschedule for it, and it kind of makes sense that they're having to do this when they're just about waking up, and it does affect your play. Like, playing too early or too late in the day can definitely have a negative impact, and these two played incredibly well despite that, so definitely excited to see the rest of this.
I know the early time has affected my commentary, that's for sure. No,
I'm probably to blame for that as well.
No, it's all good. This is actually, yeah, that was really fun. I mean, a lot of back and forth. I think we saw at least 2-3 lead changes right there. And really incredibly close until those decisions. I mean, Cavin did match up right there at the end, and it looked like it was going to be the good play to make, as far as not taking those initial that initial hand level, and what ended up not being a fort in the corner there for the first screen. But unfortunately, some other pipe routing and Mustard making the right call on their forts got them a nice little jump ahead. And yeah, that 46-13 for Cavin in second place. So nicely done by both our runners. Hope you all enjoyed that. And don't go away. We have our second and potentially third match coming up just down the line. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed that one. A really awesome race there between HUmanMustard and Cavin there. Back and forth. Just absolutely crazy World 8 there to kind of decide it, and a lot of forechecks. It will be interesting going forward to see how these guys deal. They almost guaranteed are not going to have as slow a seed. That was one of the more brutal seeds that we've seen this entire bracket stage here. So we'll see how these guys do going forward. Cavin on two-player mode, he's gonna have the extra challenge here.
Right, yeah, it was wild. There weren't too many ridiculously difficult stages, but you had to do so many of them, and there was some really crazy routing going through this as well. Just even like that World 5. Just you can't start with the routing discussion without saying about that World 5. My goodness. Both of them making exactly the same mistake there was not expected to say the least, but hey. The World 7 was also really crazy, having to basically duck in and out of the pipes that were blocked. I don't think I've seen the World 7 quite that weird before. And I've seen some pretty weird World 7s in this stuff. So, uh, what else was neat? The World 3 was kind of average, I think. World 4 being able to potentially use a hammer was pretty cool. World 6 not requiring the use of a hammer in order to skip a bunch of stages was interesting enough.
Yeah, it's like with the World 4, that early setup. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, by the end, absolutely had an extra hammer because they got one late in World 1 there. But I think otherwise, we're able to kind of utilize those to at least skip a level there in World 6. So it ended up being not so important that neither of them used it for that first World 4 there. But because it is such a, rare times where you're able to use it, it'll be interesting to see if they have any kind of divergence here because they pretty much followed in line together here. And it looks like we got our countdown.
Yep.
We got our runners ready to go here. Hope you all ready. Race number 2 between HUmanMustard and Cavin should be a good one.
So, what are you hoping to see near the start of this one then?
World 6,